Got it on.
Today is August the 5th, 2010. And this is the start of an interview with Mr. James T. Potter at the RSVP offices of Catholic Services of Macomb, located at 26238 Ryan Road, Warren, Michigan. Mr. Potter is 86 years old. His date of birth is 9/5/1923. Mr. Potter currently resides at 4200 West Utica Road, Shelby Township, Michigan. My name is Dave Brousseau, and I will be the interviewer, and Dennis Calhoun will be the videographer. Mr. Potter, would you state for the record the branch of service that you serve?
Army.
All right, Mr. Potter, can I call you James?
Jim is better.
Fine. Let's go back to the beginning. Give us a little bit of history on yourself, where you were born, where you grew up, and then how you got into the service.
I was born in Ontario, Canada, and my family migrated to Detroit in 1926, and I became a citizen under my father's papers. He received his papers in 1935, and then World War II started. Actually, there was a war before that. England was in the war in 1939. I crossed over to Windsor with my brother to enlist in the Black Watch Battalion in Windsor, Ontario. And the officer looked at me and said, "Appreciate you coming, but why don't you go back in about 3 years?" I was 15. They didn't need me yet.
Couldn't lie your way out of that one, eh?
No. So then I waited.
Was your schooling days in Canada?
No. We crossed over in 1926. I was 3 years old. I was raised and lived and schooled in Detroit, Michigan.
What school?
Graduated from Southeastern High School. And then went on to aircraft mechanics school at Detroit City Airport.
How did you get that job?
It wasn't a job, it was schooling. I knew that I needed more schooling than what I had from just high school. But I could not. Family could not afford me to go to college. So aircraft mechanics school always interested me because I made model airplanes. I was very good in aircraft. That was on the edge of the Detroit City Airport.
Now, was this a
Government
Program?
program, a government program to train reservists. They knew a war was coming.
so you were in the reserve at the time?
No. But they knew a war was coming. They were trying to train people.
What
Yep.
year would this be?
Summer and fall of 1941.
Oh my, yes,
The
okay.
war in Europe has been going
Yeah,
for 3 years.
okay.
They knew we were not going to stay out of it. I even knew, and I was 18.
Yeah.
So I enlisted, my brother and I, my boyfriend, we enlisted in March 1942. And I was assigned to the 5th Armored Division. My buddy was sent to the Air Force in Selfridge Field, Michigan, outside Detroit. And my brother enlisted for the paratroops. Of course, they took him to the paratroops. They didn't think anyone would be silly enough to enlist for the paratroops. So, off I went to California, 5th Armored Division. Maneuvers. And then they sent us to Tennessee. More maneuvers. That would be for, let me back up. In late 42, 43, we were desert maneuvers in Mojave Desert, California. And we were sure we were going to North Africa. Because there's deserts in North Africa. Well, they didn't. Then they sent us to Tennessee, which is very much like Michigan. and we had maneuvers there, and then they sent us to upstate New York, winter maneuvers, Pine Camp, New York, home of the 10th Mountain Division. And we knew then we were going to Europe because that was winter maneuvers. And what do you know, put on a boat and shipped to England, February 1944.
Okay, let's go back a minute. You graduated from high school, then you went into the
Aircraft mechanic.
aircraft mechanic. How big was your family?
I had 2 brothers.
Were they older?
Yes, I was the youngest.
Did they get drafted also?
My oldest brother had heart trouble and could not join any service. And my brother enlisted the same day I did. That's the one that went in the paratroops.
And then there was a younger sister?
No, I had no sisters.
Just 2 brothers?
2 brothers.
How'd your mom think about this?
She didn't resist.
No?
My father was a veteran of the First World War, but he had passed away in 1937 at age 46. Left my mother with 3 boys. So she got a job, Bud Wheel Factory, Charlevoix, Connors. She rode the streetcar. We lived on St. Clair. Walk to the corner, get the streetcar, go to Bud Wheel, go to work, come home on the streetcar. People lived near where they worked, and they used city transportation. Everybody did not have a car.
Yeah.
And they were already doing war work in 1938, 1939, although we were not in the war. That was for England, do you remember?
Yes.
Lend-Lease, whatever they called it. It was shipping illegally to England, escorted by U.S. Navy illegally. The Reuben James destroyer was sunk by German submarine, North Atlantic, escorting ships to England, all done illegal.
Yeah.
The president sent, my buddy was in, that I enlisted with, was sent to, a regiment was sent to Iceland. That's not common knowledge. We had a regiment of Marines in Iceland illegally. It's a big surprise to everybody. Presidents have lied. They actually have lied. It was for a good cause at the time. Sure, everything's a good cause because the president wants to do it.
So where did you go to boot camp?
California,
How did you like that?
with the division. I stayed in one unit all through my service.
Wow.
One division. But I moved to different companies inside that division and did all the training. I even qualified for officer candidate school. They wouldn't take me. I know now. I was unhappy that they didn't accept me and put me in a tank company as a lieutenant. I was too young.
Yeah.
The Army did not want 18-year-old second lieutenants. No. Air Force had them,
Yeah.
but not the Army.
So how did you like boot camp?
It was fine. It was great fun. I had 3 years of ROTC training in high school, Reserve Officers Training Corps. I graduated as a cadet captain of the school regiment. So I was big time at 17. Oh, I was gung-ho. But I was very disappointed that I did not become an officer in the Army. But it was because it was 2 years. I thought I was great.
So what happened after boot camp?
I was sent to Tennessee for maneuvers, tank maneuvers. I was in a tank company and ran around with light tanks, having a gay time, running over mailboxes for poor farmers.
How did you get into the tank division?
They assigned me.
That's it. Wasn't because of
Having run out of
anything?
Fort Custer, Michigan. They had formed the nucleus of a tank division they all started in Fort Knox. That was Armored Force camp. And then each division was sent to a base camp to start training. I was sent to the 5th Armored in California. took my basic training, was assigned to a tank platoon, stayed with the tank platoon all through until just before we went overseas. And then I figured it out. If you're going to be overseas and now it's going to get serious, people might even shoot at you. I don't want you sitting in a coffin. And that's all they were. The American tanks were so inferior. You could knock them over with a paper clip. We felt. But still they served, they went, and they died. I seen lots of tanks burned out and the bodies hanging out of the turret. Lots of them. I decided I didn't want to be one. But I served.
So now, boot camp is over, you've gone to some training in Tennessee.
Tennessee, maneuvers, running around, maneuvers.
Then where do you go from there?
Upstate New York.
And what was that?
Near Pine Camp, New York, near Watertown, New York.
More maneuvers?
More winter maneuvers. Because it was winter.
Then what comes next?
A series of camps on the way to embarkation, go to Europe. They were just stopover camps. Indiantown Camp, Pennsylvania. I forget the one in New Jersey. And I was on the ship and off to England.
Now, are you aware of what's going on in the war at this point?
We followed it. We had news releases. We knew what was going on.
So you weren't going across the pond without knowing what's going on?
No, they questioned us. They had officers question us before we even loaded on the ship. They came and they had an inspection of readiness to go overseas. And asked us questions of all kinds of particulars about when I get on that boat, who's going to know where you are? It's a trick question.
Yeah.
Well, the Army has a change of address form for your mail. Don't you do that in civilian life? Don't you have a change of address when you move? Well, the Army knew about that. They had a regular little card. You fill that out. My mother knew I was moving, but they could not say where, of course.
What kind of boat did you have to go over the...
An old, it was actually a German ship. It's called the SS America, under German flag, passenger ship, back and forth from Hamburg to New York. And at the end of World War I, repatriations, the United States government seized that ship, took it away from the Germans, and then it was dry docked. And then when a war started, they need troop transport, so they put it back in service. And half of the division, including me, got on that damn thing, and off we go to England. Only 2 meals a day, because you couldn't feed 4,500 at 3 meals. It was impossible. 4,500 on a small ship. So you go. Until you get in that bunk, you get in that bunk. Or you can lay on the floor. It's optional. Well, it wasn't a floor, it was a deck. And then arrived in England.
How long did it take you to get there?
14 days.
14 days?
That's all. You're going 8 miles an hour. They went in convoys. 50 ships, 75 ships. Do you think they can go with the fastest ship? Leave everybody behind? They go with the slowest ship.
14 days. How was that trip?
Rough.
Were you seaworthy?
For 3 days, I almost, but I kept it down. I almost. But one thing that encouraged me to get rid of it was the first or second morning. You wake up, you line up for an hour and a half, finally get through there, and they throw this slop on your plate. Stewed tomatoes and liver.
Oh, God.
First thing in the morning. That was an encouragement to throw it over the rail. But I didn't. There were other guys who were saying, you don't want that? I'll take it. Other guys that couldn't face it. And I arrived in England, and then by train, went on down to a camp near Swindon, England. Big old World War I Army barracks, King's Own Rifle Corps for the British Army, First World War. And it's not generally known, but every American soldier that landed on England, the United States had to pay a tax, allowing them to be on English soil. They put a tax on the Americans when the British came into Boston, and the Americans did a thing called a revolution. And now if you remember that revolution, I was too young. But it was okay for the English to put a tax on us. We're coming there to save their ass. They still taxed us. Every American that ever landed on there had to pay money. And the buildings they used, they rented. Oh yes.
Did they bring the tanks over with you, or did they come?
I have no idea. They were there, they would ship them. They couldn't possibly put them on the same ship. 4,500 they put a few tanks, it would have sunk. That's services supply. They had fields in England. There was fields and fields and fields of nothing but tanks, nothing but artillery, nothing but trucks, nothing but little peeps and jeeps. Thousands of them, until they were issued out to units. And the unit that we ended up with was General Patton.
Did you ever get to meet him?
No, he didn't get down to my level.
No.
No. He was in our division area a couple times. Division headquarters. That's where the champagne is. Actually, he liked scotch. That we knew. He liked scotch. He gave us, he was so far away I couldn't make him out. I had the division form up and he gave us a little talk before we went to France. I don't know if you know that, but Patton was a very profane man. He was an embarrassment to the Army because of his language. Every time there was any kind of official meeting, he was blah, 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 blah. See, those type of people are egomaniacs. And he was on stage like MacArthur and Montgomery. They were one way in the tent with the junior officers, but stepped outside and Churchill's coming, click, all of a sudden to go on stage. He gave a short speech to us. You don't mind. She's an adult, I can tell. The gist of it is, it was longer than I can remember. He says, very soon, men, we're going to France. And we're going there to kill Germans. And nothing else. Just kill Germans. Just kill those son of a bitches. And we kill enough of those son of a bitches, the war will be over, and we can all go home. And the facts are, when you kill enough of the enemy, you win. Because they run out of men. So he was right. He didn't care to hear about prisoners of war captured. He didn't care to hear about that. He knew it happened. Does that hint something? Get a hint about maybe you don't need prisoners? Is that called a war crime? If you're caught? I had a chance to shoot a few German prisoners. I chose not to.
I'm sure you're right.
There we are in England, and it got formed up with Patton's Third Army, and it was loaded in LST, my company, and others, and we crossed and landed on Utah Beach. I don't know if you could pick that up. Utah Beach, there's little tiny dots from England. Comes in the, can you even see it?
Now this is
Normandy.
Germany,
Normandy,
Normandy.
France, across from England. See the little tiny dots at the top, dots.
Okay,
I'm England.
Oh,
That's the tiny
okay,
dots.
okay,
Now I'm
okay.
coming to the beach.
okay. So this is
It's England over here.
England over here.
Yep, where the flag is. Wrong flag.
Okay.
And this is Utah Beach.
That's right. The 4th Infantry Division took that beach ahead of us. a month ahead of us.
Okay, so I was trying to get references to when D-Day was.
6th of June,
Okay,
and we came in the 24th of July. So you see, in that period of time, a lot of things changed.
yeah.
When we landed on that beach, you'd be amazed. It was almost clear of everything.
Now, this is the way you read it.
Yeah.
But this dotted line is where they came in.
The dotted line is from England
Right.
to land at the beach. And then the dotted lines on land are where we traveled, where we stopped. And there's dates where we were.
Okay. And that would have been this line here.
Yeah, well, you just went through a whole week.
Yeah.
See, I wrote that, and I wrote this story 10 days in August.
Mhm.
Because when we were finally told to go for it, was the 1st of August. So that was my beginning of what you call combat.
So
1st of August.
the beach was, when you came, the beach was friendly.
There was no gunfire. It was all over.
All the bad stuff was over.
It was over. It was a month and a half.
How
after.
far behind the troops that landed were you?
Oh, they were inland. They'd already captured Cherbourg. They'd pretty well cleaned this whole peninsula. But they're fighting. Well, here's the front line. You can see if you watch the dates. That front line didn't move much in a lot of weeks. It didn't move much at all. That's on the English side.
That would have been right in here.
Yeah. Look at the dates. They're marked. They didn't move, did they?
No.
We moved 200 miles in 10 days. They didn't move 10 miles in 10 days. Little difference, isn't it? Because that front opened. They punched through. Little town there. It's on St. Lo. You'll see it on every movie.
Yeah.
St. Lo. How many people know it took 28,000 lives to capture St. Lo? One little village. But they had to punch through because the road network is there.
Mhm.
We're an armored unit. We had to run on roads. Once in a while we went across fields. But you go across farmers' fields and you're going to get bogged down.
At what point were you injured?
At the end of my 10 days, just follow that trek. I'm CCA. Look for August 10, outside Le Mans, France. Le Mans, with the Le Mans start on the racetrack. That's where
Okay,
I'm
and
at.
that would have been August the 8th. At
9th,
Le Mans.
and then all of a sudden you come to the 10th.
Okay, 9 and then 10, okay?
Bang. Anti-tank gun hit our half track.
That would have been here.
That's right.
What was the extent of your injury?
Penetrating wounds from the back, out the shoulder, right through my arm.
Was it shrapnel?
Yes. Anti-tank gun hit the side of the half track, just off my shoulder, but going that way, it took the fella's half his head off next to me. He was killed instantly. No one else in the half track.
So what happened after
There were
that?
6 of us in that half track. Well, I asked the major, who was in shock, he was my commanding officer, if I could leave the half track. We yelled at the driver to move, move, move. Once they hit you, you don't stop.
Right.
Because they already seen you. They already hit you. You don't sit there and say, I like that one, give me another one.
They
give me
already
another
got
one."
the bearing, so you gotta
Move,
keep.
move, move. So I didn't want to be left behind in that damn thing. I wanted the medics here. So I asked him to leave the vehicle. He said, okay, and I hopped over the side and went in the ditch. I had my carbine, that's what I was on, M1 carbine. And when we ride in vehicles, a lot of people don't know it, we do not have loaded guns. Direct orders, no loaded weapons. Because inside the vehicle, something happens, boom, I don't mean to, but I can shoot you. You even get excited. this thing called adrenaline starts pumping. I was standing up, and I seen that gun hit a light tank in front of me, bounce off the turret. I seen the next shell went between us, hit a cow and knocked it over. And I started to sit down. As I sat down, I racked that gun. So I did have a loaded gun, one bullet, when I jumped out of the half track. I went in the ditch, I checked my weapon. It won't move, the bolt won't move, it's jammed, and the stock's all battered. Somehow I had hung it onto it. But in that moment, I racked it. So I'm there in the ditch, mad as hell. I've got one bullet to defend myself. If the Germans would have had infantry that could have swept over, and there was other wounded further on down that ditch, they could have killed us all. And I'd only make them mad at me because I had one bullet. Not good. So the medics did come, ambulance pulled right up, loaded me up. Tank commander from the tank, he bashed all his teeth when he put on the brakes, his face hit the armor around the edge, knocked out teeth, cut his face all up, but he wasn't wounded by bullets. And a couple other fellows from another unit loaded us up in that ambulance. Then guess what? Where are they going to take me? From Le Mans, all the way back to the beach. There's no place in between. By that time, in those few days, Army come in and set up a general hospital, tents, behind the beach. Come in there and laid me down on the ground in a little cot. My back is killing me because I had a hole in my back. They lay you on your back. I tried to get up to tell them I asked that. Oh, give you a shot of morphine. You don't feel pain no more. Brought in a young German soldier, probably about my age. I'm 20 years old by this time. I'm getting old. Brought that young fella in and it dropped him. Crunch. And he had a big hole in his chest. Blood was burping out when he breathed. And I said, don't do that. Fuck him. It's an attitude. So then there was an airstrip already built. DC-3s that used to be the first passenger planes go out of the Detroit City Airport. Yeah. And the paratroopers jumped out of them. My brother did in Normandy. Was wounded. He lasted a day and a half. I lasted 10 days. He was back in the hospital in Cardiff, Wales. I got flown back there. Landed, offloaded into a general hospital. Americans built it, brand new. Not tents, building. Very nice. All American nurses. Angels. That's what they were. And I was there 3 months.
This is where now?
England.
England.
Taunton, England. Near the Bristol Channel. Not far from the Bristol Channel. It separates Wales from England. And then I did some rehab work. They didn't have rehab like we have today. Their idea was to give you work details, exercise. So they gave me a job scrubbing the floor in a special room of all amputees, poor fellas, in that room, silent. They didn't speak. Most of them were shot for pain. There wasn't a word. And I'm under there scrubbing the damn floor. My arms are killing me. I couldn't even smart it. Why don't I use my left hand? Because I'm right-handed. Well, that's all banged up. So I'm trying to scrub the floor, and I'm mad as hell. And I heard this poor guy, his stump was hanging over the side of the bed, and my head kind of bumped. He didn't cry. If you ever get hurt, go shh. That's the sound I heard. That was a poor guy. done. I quit. No more scrubbing floors. I got out of there. I couldn't take it. Those poor guys. They didn't get treated as well as today. And then I had to go through classification. I'm better. Oh, I'm sorry. Skip. I had to have a second operation. That delayed my getting sent back because of the second. And I actually had bandages on. They said, you're going back to your company. This is before, now time has went by. This is the end of November. Now we're getting close to the Battle of the Bulge. Of course, we didn't know it. We didn't know it yet. So I had bandages, and they said, well, when you get back to your company, go to the medics and they'll change your bandage each day. What? Oh, okay. But I'm going back. By that time, the company was inside Germany, and went all the way across France, punched into Germany. They got pushed back out, and punched in again. Lost 4,000 men out of my division alone. And they're in a forest called the Hürtgen Forest. You may have heard something about it. It's on TV once in a while. Hürtgen Forest. Tragic battles there. Wiped out companies and companies. 4 divisions were decimated in there, all for nothing. But they have to do it. They have to do it. And there's the company. They're in this forest. There are holes in the ground. It's between snow and rain coming down. And I spent the winter there. In a hole in the ground. And each day I go to the medics and they replace my bandage. I'm filthy and dirty and muddy, but that's a clean spot. But then we finally moved up into Holland, getting ready to cross the Rhine. It was a big jump to cross the Rhine. That's a big river. And they made
Were these are the bridges that the U.S. had to build?
No, they'd blown all the German bridges down, and we had to wait. By that time, I'm sorry, they had taken an entire American army and assigned it to Montgomery because the British ran out of men. They ran out of men. So the Americans had lots of men. They gave an entire army, now it's the First Army, I was included. So we were now under the command of Montgomery until the end of the war. And that was in November. So off we go, kept going, and what do you know? We're coming up on the Elbe River, and Berlin is 35 miles away. And then the smaller river, the bridge is long, as our infantry tried to cross it. We had members on the bridge when it blew. We had to back up. But it wasn't all down. Still some of it. So they got the engineers, they were to strengthen it, and where to go, because we were told all through our training, where are you going to? Berlin. Like the ones in the Pacific, you're all going to Tokyo. No, they never did get there. There we are at the Elbe River. Berlin's 35 miles away. The Russians are fighting like crazy inside Berlin. They would not let us cross the Elbe River. Orders from Schaeff headquarters, Eisenhower, do not cross the Elbe River. They did not want, this is done, this is the end of the war. They did not want the American armies in combat collide with the Russians. Because they thought they would be fighting. And once fighting and shooting starts, this one's got to do twice as much, the other one's got to do twice as much, and you have escalation. In 6 hours, it's out of control. So the idea was just keep us on our side of the river, and we give them that side of the river. And there was a little problem later on. I don't know if you ever knew that the American negotiators were not smart enough to get legal access for the Russians to enter Berlin from the Western Zone. Later on, 1948, Russians closed the river. We didn't have access into it, so we had to go by air. I don't know if you remember that airlift. The Americans were outsmarted at negotiations all through World War II. Well,
So
I did
where were you
before.
when the war ended then?
Well, I stayed in the Army of Occupation, and they're sending units home. There isn't enough boats in the world to take 4 million out of Europe in a week. You have to wait your turn. So we're in von Stauffenberg's estate. That's the one that organized the bomb attempt on Hitler, Stauffenberg. We're in his estate. I slept in one of his rooms after the war is over. And then they said load in the trucks. And down the train station, I was one of the lucky ones who rode by train back through France, through Germany, Belgium, and then France, through Le Havre, France, big port, Le Havre, on the River Seine, waiting for a ship to get out. And big camps, tent cities set up. They're called cigarette camps because there's Lucky Strike Camp, Chesterfield Camp, Sulphur, Newport, all the rest. Cigarette camps.
Did you ever fear that you might be sent over to the Pacific?
I had no fear of anything. We figured that we kind of did our bit in Europe. No, we had so many casualties, we had so many new fill-ins. Poor guys that came to us and only fired their gun 5 times and they sent them overseas. They weren't worth much of anything, except they could die, which they did. No, by that time, the process was so slow moving. No, they were not going to, and they don't use armored division in the Pacific. They never had one in the Pacific. We had 10 armored divisions in Europe.
What was your job specifically?
S2 section, that's intelligence. I kept log day by day. German planes shot down, German guns destroyed, both sides of the border, vehicles, how many men captured, how many Germans estimated killed. Enemy information, filed away. And then when researchers go to Washington, they go in the archives and say, they'll find a lot of things that the records that we sent back. But got out of the Havre. Oh, now we're into it. Had to be end of September or beginning of October, but they ended up Camp Kilmer. That's the one I forgot. Going home, which went back the same track. Camp Kilmer. They were all spread off for whatever states we came from. And they said been trained to Indiantown, Pennsylvania, and then Indianapolis.
Was it another 14-day trip?
I never kept track of it. I have no idea. They didn't
Coming
put any
back?
extra outboard motors on it. I know that. No, it took as long as it took. That's trivia. We don't keep track. But I remember coming into Staten Island and seeing that lady on the torch in her hand. That was a good sight. And in those days, they sent it was a ferry boat, all banners and a band playing welcome out in the harbor as we came in. Well, I hope
It must have been a long process deactivating all of these soldiers and getting them back into the States.
the war ended in Europe. Was it 6th of May? 6th of May? And we were out of there September, same year. Millions of men had to go before we did. I mean, that's a big, big operation. Scheduling, all the ships, all the trains. That's a big operation.
So what happened when you finally got home?
I rushed to see my mom, told her I was okay, went to see my girlfriend that I chased around before I went in the Army. She was 16, and she was still there, the same innocent girl, and within a month, I was discharged on the 17th of October, got married on the 17th of November, and first son was born on August 17th. There were some old aunts used to mark the calendar, remember it? To the day.
Were you able to keep in touch with her while you were in
Oh, I
Europe?
wrote to her all the time, she wrote to me. I didn't write it out. There's a lot of times in that hole, we'd have logs and mud, and that to keep shell fragments from hitting us in rainy time in the winter, and leak mud diving. See, and every time you tried to write a letter, oh, it would come out.
Yeah.
Or you'd light a candle or something to see, and that would help melt it, and then it'd fall down on you. Not good. But she wrote often.
Now, when you send those, you didn't have to put postage on it?
No. And then they had a one page. Some tax units use this damn envelope type. I hate the one that they use. And you tear off this and tear off that, and you're about to destroy it to open it up. But the Army had a good one. It was a one page. It was half this size. So you only fold it once. Notice that. It's called V-mail. So it's a short message. Free, of course.
I know my brother was in Vietnam and he would write home to me. On the envelope, he would draw a picture of a stamp and put free on it. And that's how I got all his mail. Oh, that's kind of funny. I mean, anybody could do that. How did they know where that came from, you know?
Well, we had, all our mail was censored.
Yeah.
Imagine an officer that had to sit there and read everybody's mail. And he put a stamp on it, the signature. Those officers didn't want to do that, read their mail.
Well,
That was a
somehow
job.
you have to be sure that,
You're not to reveal your location. Can you imagine as we
Yeah.
were loading on that ship? Athlone Castle was the name of that English ship. That dummy, he made up a letter for his wife with code to be able to tell when he wrote her and he used code words, she would know where he was. And as we were going up the gangplank to go on, there was some civilians down there. So long, fellas. Good luck, fellas. He handed it to one. Who was an FBI man. And he went up the gangplank in a short time. He just came down the gangplank with handcuffs on.
wow.
And that's what FBI man. Talk about dumb. Of course, he didn't know. It's just a civilian.
All right, so you get home. What's the first thing you're doing now when you get home?
Oh, I'm not supposed to say that in front of a young lady.
Well,
There's other things.
right. Let me rephrase that. You get home, what did you do to re-socialize yourself with the,
He just said he couldn't tell you.
I hung out with my fiance.
okay,
I skipped over something. While we were in upstate New York, she wanted to get married on my last furlough, and she was pretty well broken that I did not want to get married that quick, and I could get a 5-day pass, emergency leave to get married, 5 days and then overseas. I didn't want to do that. So I invited her to come to Watertown, New York, and the hint was on, she's going to get a ring. She's going home with an engagement ring. Now this is a different culture. She could not get permission to come there alone. She was 18. My mother came as an escort.
oh, yeah.
And they came from Detroit to Buffalo on the DNC ship. Detroit to Buffalo. Still running passenger ships. Offloaded the ship, train to Watertown, New York. Then I met him in the Watertown hotel. It's a hotel. I had grown rooms, and all that. Then brought him into camp. We had a dance. Always had dances on Sunday afternoons. And I asked a girl that I usually danced with that maybe she could stay home. What I did is I moved across the country. Come on, I'm 18, 19. I like girls. And these girls that came, USO girl, bless them. We respected them. And we knew they had brothers, they had boyfriends, maybe some of them had husbands in the service. Hands off. But they came, had a good time, we danced, joked, we laughed. They went away, we went away. That's it.
Probably never saw him again.
Oh, no, there's no reason, there's no connection. No connection. But there was a couple cases, we were mad as hell at them. We had a girl, remember I said we went through Tennessee, and then upstate New York. Well, in Tennessee, met this nice little girl. Impregnated her. And when he got to upstate New York, he wrote the news to him and he invited her to come. She came to town and he wasn't there. He's on a date with another girl. So she found MP and this and that and got to our headquarters. And he didn't want to see her. Not a good situation. We hated that guy. We hated him. I did win the war. I did something.
But when you got home, how did you re-socialize yourself back into the work world? What did you do?
Well, I went in the Army at 18. I never really had a real job. I worked in the drugstore. During school, I worked, and that's where I met my future wife. It's in the Rivola Theater, an usher in the theater. That's not a career job. That's a job that you earn 35 cents an hour. You don't buy a home and a new car with that. 35 cents an hour, a few hours a week, and at the same time I'm going to that aircraft mechanic school. I had a full, and chasing her around nights, I had a full book. Then I come home, I didn't want to run around. I've been around. I was very happy. I settled down. My wife took the money out of the bank she'd earned doing war work in the factory. We had the down payment for a new house, and I didn't even have a job yet. So I had no idea what I was going to do. No idea at all. But I was optimistic. This is the United States, land of opportunity. That's what I was brought up on. Now it's all defeatism out there. Out there, everybody's beat down, defeated. No, I was ready to go, ready to do anything. I was to contact my sergeant. I was going to take a hotel management course, Michigan State, and go in hotels. And I even applied and was accepted for the Statler Hotel, downtown Detroit. Hotel management course. End up on hotel management. You actually can make a living. Not a factory job. I had enough dirty mud, slop. Go to work with a suit on, it feels good. But, like I say, we got busy and she was quite a bit pregnant by the time they gave me that job at Statler Hotel. And to start you on the night shift. Right here, because it's not quiet, you have time. I just married, I just couldn't sign up for the night shift. I had other things to do. But then I considered the 4-year course at Michigan State government because I was wanted to get a subsistence check of $90 a month. You live real good, like $90 a month, tuition. You're away from home. I'd have to have a car if we want to come back to Detroit to visit our families. I had no money for a car. I'm 22 years old, never owned a car. So it was not easy going. So my father-in-law said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I said, well, it's not my day at the unemployment office. They gave us, I was in a club, 5220 club. They gave us 52 weeks unemployment, $20 a week as a veteran. That was the 5220 club. Well, I only got a couple checks. And he said, why don't you come with me, get in my truck, and we'll do heating work. I don't, sure, I'll go. And going, ended up, but my brother-in-law and I, we bought him out and took over the business. I went to heating and cooling business.
I'll be darned.
Just because he had a trade, he had a business. Now that's almost illegal, isn't it? Now in this country, you can't hire your son anymore, can you?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Well, there are people that are really against that. What is it?
It
That's
may be in a corporation, but in a family business.
corporations. The son comes up and he's a vice president. He doesn't work in the office. He has his own office. He has a secretary and he's vice president. That's almost illegal. He took a job away from someone who's been working there 20 years is supposed to be vice president. That bum comes out of college and boom, he's your vice president. But anyway, I earned a living, paid for a house, paid for a couple houses. Now I'm in the senior complex and there was a bunch of people, I tell you what, they have a lot of courage, that's what I found out. The seniors that melted away. There's no crybabies in there, there's none protesting, why me, God forgive me, and all that stuff. No, they just take what comes.
How big was your family?
I had 3 boys and 2 girls.
Wow.
They're all still alive. Not one has been in prison. Not one has been in drug rehab. I think we did pretty
Are
good.
they all in this area?
Wait,
Your wife is still alive?
she passed away in 2001, cancer. 2001.
Any friends that you made while you were in the service?
They've all died off. I'm the last survivor of our vehicle. There were 7 of us in that vehicle.
Were you able to stay in touch with them after
Oh
you
yeah,
left?
one Frank Koss. He was our map man. He drew this from Chicago. We went on a trip one time and the flights stopped over in Chicago. Changed planes and then come to Detroit. It was 45 minutes. So Frank came to the airport. We had a nice visit for 45 minutes. So I called him on the telephone a few times, but he died, well, 2 years ago. He was 92. He was a little bit older. Well, most everybody was older than I was.
Well, you were pretty young when you
I was
went
very young. Armored Division has more mechanics, trade people. They've lived. A lot of them were married. Not kids just out of high school. They don't run an armored division. No. Too many technical jobs. But I could do a typewriter. I guess 2 sections. They didn't want to sit in a coffin overseas in the tank. So we had films from the battles the French had with the Germans. They had films that they had smuggled out. The French had very good tanks.
Did you ever have the chance to go back? Did you ever have the feeling you'd like to?
Oh, yes, but after my brother did, the paratrooper, 40 years after he went back, he found it exactly where he hid in a culvert after
Wow.
he landed. He found it right where he landed. But he says, that's Normandy. See, that's rural. Apple orchards, farmers, he don't change. But then he made that jump in Holland. If you remember the Bridge Too Far, remember that movie, Bridge Too Far, that story? His division did pretty well. That was Valley and this big heavy national forest in Germany. He went back to that valley, he found it, and there's one crossroad, there's one old building, which means it was original, he recognized it. Nothing else. In that valley, a regiment of gliders came in and landed among them as reinforcements.
Yeah.
A regiment of gliders, hundreds. They couldn't land one in there. It's all built up to the apartments, houses.
Hmm.
Completely filled in. There was no valley,
That's something.
so you can't go back. And that little stick, I can't put my foot, it's like, get out of the half track. That's a great big tree, it's this big, it's already fallen over. Rotten. Too many years.
Things change.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to?
It's just that I can't do it. I can't even speak. Walter Ostrander died next to me. I had met his wife, and I knew they had a little girl who was 22. And he was careful. Every time I stopped, he dug a hole. He wanted to come back. I didn't feel anything. Are those men in the amputee room? They were the heroes. We came back because there's so many of us that couldn't kill us all. But I was an inch away, and here I am. Oh, we did a laugh over this. Here's the boy soldier in Germany. He crossed the Rhine. It's my M1. That's how I dressed.
Oh,
I was tired because I was tired. I had slept 3 days.
Something.
I'm 20. That's right.
and where was this?
It was between the Rhine and the River Elbe. It's getting in the spring of 1945.
You look pretty young there.
Most people look pretty good at 20. But see, being in an armored unit and Pat and Cushing, we went, she didn't catch it on this map, but you'll see there's a big gap, meaning miles. We didn't stop. Then we'd be someplace, one overnight, then we'd take off again. There was one time we went for 5 days, never stopped. Well, that means, where do you eat? Where do you go potty? Where do you sleep? You just do what you gotta do. There's another use for the steel helmet. Empty it over the side as you're going. It was very informal. But you had to keep going. When that vehicle's moving in front of you, you move behind it.
During the time that you were in, after your landing, and all the while the time you were going through France, Belgium, were there times when you get some time off?
Oh, no.
And if you did, where would you go?
No. We're in the vehicles. We're going, go. There was no break. Oh, by the way, you get a week vacation. Go to the Alps. Go to the Riviera. No. The vehicle's moving. Let's go. You're going to catch up.
Yeah, but isn't there a time in which they give you a time away from battle where you can go to the back of the line and have time off, like a week
That
or
was the
something?
Herky Forest in that hole in the ground, under artillery fire. We weren't moving, we were in that hole in the ground. Airplanes bombing us at night. That's a rest area. No, the war, after, that's right, after I'd been wounded, they got up to the River Seine. They made a big loop in Normandy and came back toward the ocean. They cut off the German forces trying to retreat. That's Army tactics. They had to stop for vehicle maintenance. They had to change engines in the tanks and trucks.
Oh,
Major overhaul because we were breaking down their vehicles being left with a couple guards. We were having casualties of going, well, you take a truck convoy, which they found out in Michigan. I don't know if you remember that. Everybody that's leaving Michigan in 1958 or 56, there was a deep recession. And the last one out of Michigan would turn the lights off. They're going to Alaska, the trail to Alaska. Most people went in the kind of old cars and trucks and everything that they figured we couldn't make. They couldn't make it. They were breaking down before they even got to Alaska.
boy,
They don't realize how much maintenance you need.
right.
So how many days of straight sort of battle were you in, or continuous? Before you got any leave or R&R or
There's no
anything?
leave. There's
No,
no
yeah, but I mean, how long,
Okay.
how many weeks was it that you were?
Well, it's 3, 4, and 5 days. Meaning the vehicle didn't stop, it was moving all the time. Go, go, go. We weren't pulled out of the line and say, why don't you go to the beach? No, no, no. We were in readiness. Oh, wait a minute. Now, out of the Hurtgen Forest, the Battle of Bulge happened. That's right, we were in a relief rest area. They pulled us out of the Hurtgen Forest, that's Germany, back into Belgium, a small town, and occupied a farmer's field, dug holes, put a little pup tent up, and that was 2 days before Christmas, and about a foot of snow fell, a lot of the tents were collapsing. That was a rest area. We stayed in this pup tent on the ground in December, and the kitchen was down the end of the road. You were in a hustle down there with your boots on. Take your helmet off, sit on it in the snow, and the Army had a mess kit, a cup, aluminum, with a rim. They give you the coffee on there, you couldn't touch it with your tongue. It was so hot, you stuck it in the snow. By the time you could pick it up to drink it, it's cold. It's cold. Because you're trying to eat the slop that's in your mess kit and you're sitting on a snowbank. That was the rest area. And German planes would come over and strafe us once in a while. Or you're on guard duty on the perimeter. I went on a mission into town. There were some officers that kept asking for the password. Every day there's a password. They could say today, the password is for tell. I'd say you to challenge you, I'd say for. You better say tell. Or I could shoot you. If you couldn't come back with tell, I could shoot you. But we would identify. Except they made it worse. The Germans dropped paratroopers in American uniforms. They killed one of our guards at the gate at night coming through. Of course, they didn't have a password. So the guard challenged them. They shot him. So there was a rumor some officers were in a house, did not know the password. officers have a little different lax timing. They just give their word, tell them, I'll be back in 2 days. They accept it, they don't have a written back. There they are, socializing with the Belgian women, and we pull a guard detail, and I was with them. We busted in their room, covered them with our guns, questioning them, and the officer leading us was from the IPW team, that's Interrogation of Prisoners of War. He was an Austrian Jew who spoke real broken English with a German accent. And he's questioning these officers, they think he's a German lieutenant in an American uniform. And they had sidearms, or automatics. They better not touch him, because we already had him covered. Kind of a tense moment. There was one officer I remembered from the States. He was a major, and I remembered him coming in headquarters. So I spoke up and said, I know that officer from Print Camp New York. And then he stopped. I didn't tell you about the war is over. We're on the border of the Russian-American zone, and there was a lot of tense things going on. The Russians were shooting Germans that were trying to escape through to the American side. There was no fence up yet, or nothing, but there was a 100-yard kill zone. Anybody stepped in there, they could be shot. We didn't do it, but the Russians delighted in doing it. There was a woods behind von Stauffenberg's estate, and they were shooting them at night, and in the morning you'd see them out there pulling bodies out of the woods. It was kind of tense. So then they had a celebration of the end of the war. The Russian lieutenant general on the Russian side was going to come over with a guard detail and a band, and then the American lieutenant general of our area would meet, and they're going to shake hands and pledge solidarity and peace and all this BS. And the bands are playing, and we had a German Jew in our company. I don't know why, but we had a few. Ben Litvak, L-I-T-V-A-K. He wanted a camera angle. He's moving. To get these generals that just said they're shaking, he moved into the kill zone. We got an American honor guard and a Russian honor guard, and the Russians had MPs. They had a certain submachine gun that had a round drum, 50 rounds. And this Russian general grabbed him by the arm, started taking back on the Russian side. A lieutenant in that guard detail seen it. He fell out of line, cocked his 45, ran over there, grabbed our guy and put the 45 to the Russian's head. I run out and I grabbed the other arm and I said, don't shoot, for Christ's sake, don't shoot. Hey, the bands are playing the national anthems and the generals are shaking hands. And there's a side action because Ben wanted a camera angle, kept moving. He stepped in that kill zone.
Jeez, someone started the next war.
It's little side, little things happen. One of the last installations that turned out to be the Russian zone, we had to move back. Where we were in Germany, we had to retreat. Turn that over to the Russians. Well, one area had a big hospital. The largest hospital in the occupied zone. It's a VD hospital. Nothing but American VD cases. That's in the Russian zone. Well, we had to run ambulances back and forth, new patients, treated patients, bringing them back. The Russians are harassing, making them get out of ambulances, search, just harassment. But finally, all the patients out under armed guard, and the Russians stole the last couple ambulances. Because they were out of the ambulance, the Russian jumped in and drove it back. You can't shoot them. They knew we can't shoot. Anyway, I didn't go to that hospital. I knew about it. And that was near Buchenwald concentration camp, where the Germans murdered so many Jews and Russian prisoners of war. And the people that lived in that town, there's the big chimney, like an incinerator, like in Detroit. Remember when they built this incinerator? There's an odor. Human bodies have a distinct odor. I smell lots of burning bodies, lots and lots. You'll never forget this. And the people that lived in that town, and their husbands worked in it, had no knowledge of it. No, we didn't know nothing about it. No, we didn't know nothing. The Nazis did that. They were not Nazis. No. Denial, denial. Well, I think
Thank you very much, Jim. Appreciate.
running out of gas. Of course, I could talk to you about 2 more days.
I'm sure you could.
Those, are those copies, that picture and stuff, or can I make copies?
Would you care to read this and mail it to me?
I'll make a copy for now and.
Oh, well, sure.